Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Woodbine Racetrack here on Saturday. It is June the 30th, 2018. It's Queen's Plate Day from Woodbine, and I'm going to look at the Queen's Plate and also all the other stakes races on today's program. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. All around the world today, there's some great stakes action, from England to Australia to to France to America. It's just an all-around great week, great day of racing. So I'm going to look at all the stakes races on today's program from Woodbine. Those races are races 3, 6, 8, 9, and 10. Race 3, 6, 8, 9, and the feature 10th race, which is the Queen's Plate. Let's get on to it, starting off with the third race from Woodbine. The third race, it is the Charlie Barley Stakes. Purse $100,000. It's for 3-year-olds here. Field of 7 horses going the distance of ground of 1,600 meters or the distance of ground of 1 mile on the E.P. Taylor turf course. 1,600 meters, 1 mile. My top selection in this race, I like the number 6 horse here. The number 6 horse, who is Ride a Comet. Gonna go 6-2-4 in the TriCast of the trifecta. 6-2-4 TriCast trifecta. Top selection, the 6 horse Ride a Comet. 3-year-old colt by Candy Ride. Patrick Husbands is on this one from Marcassi. Horse's most recent outing, 1st of June at Woodbine, 7 furlongs on the E.P. Taylor turf course and lounge race for $79,000. This horse won by 2 lengths that day. A little bit wide, but this horse, he got the lead and then he took off at the end. Very nice comeback victory for this horse. Start before there was 17th of March at Turfway, a mile and 8th on the Poly Track in the Jeff Ruby Stakes, Grade 3 Jeff Ruby Stakes. This horse finished 8th by 12 1/4 lengths, and had a wide post and just had nothing that day. It just wasn't his day to win against those horses. And then the 6th of January at the Fairgrounds, 1 mile and an optional 50 claimer. Horse won by 3.5 lengths. He stalked early, but he got the lead in the straightaway, and then he took off clear. His better surface, I think, is turf. He's been training well since his last run, and I think here at 3-1, he should really run a big one. Mark Cassie has 4 of the 7 in here, and I just think he's gonna, one of his horses is gonna win, and I think Ride a Comet is the one, so I'll take my chances with him. So to recap my bets for today's third race from Woodbine, it's the Charlie Barley Stakes. As a top selection here, I'm gonna go with the 6 horse Ride a Comet. I'm gonna go 6-2-4 in the TriCast of the trifecta. So now let's get on to race number 6 from Woodbine. The 6th race, it's the King Edward Stakes, Grade 2, purse $175,000. It's for 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 8 horses going the distance of ground, again to the turf course, the distance of ground of 1,600 meters or the distance of ground of 1 mile on the E.P. Taylor lawn. In about a year's time, maybe 11 months from now, Woodbine, the old harness track, will now become will be back to a turf course in about 11 months' time. They already started laying the sod, so it's looking a little bit more greener at Woodbine in the next in the next year or so. I think more turf racing is a good thing. Hopefully they'll bring back the years ago, way before, a little bit before my time, they used to have the Marshall turf course, which was just a very unique lawn, and maybe they could hopefully maybe bring that back, because that, just looking at the history of that race course was so unique. But the E.P. Taylor turf course is unique also, being the biggest turf course in North America, tied biggest racetrack in North America with the Belmont Big Sandy. But it's just always good racing on the turf at Woodbine. My top selection here in the King Edward, I like the 8 horse Delta Prince. I'm gonna go 8-3-4 in the TriCast of the trifecta. 8-3-4 TriCast trifecta. Top selection, the 8 horse Delta Princess. 5-year-old horse by Street Cry. Jimmy Jerkins trains. Javier Castellano comes in from New York to ride this one. This horse hasn't been seen since closing weekend of 2017 at the Spa. Saratoga yielding ground, a mile on the 16th in the Bernard Baruch handicap. This horse finished 3rd by 2.5 lengths that day, and he was a little bit wide, and he just couldn't get that good closing kick. He had a little bit of a bad trip. I think here off the break. It's a good comeback race, and I just like his chances a lot. Before that, Saratoga 1 mile inner turf course, Op 62 Claimer. His horse won by 3 1/4 lengths that day. Sat back early, but got the lead, and then he took off clearing the straightaway. Nice victory for this horse for his first start since April the 1st, 2017 at Gulfstream. 1 mile in the Grade 3 Appleton. Horse finished second by half length. He got caught at the wire by All Included. He was all out on the stretch, and he just couldn't keep that, the lead at the end. But I like him a lot here today. He's a nice horse. Watch out for him to run a big one. So to recap my bets for the 6 from Woodbine, it's the Grade 2 King Edward Stakes. It's a top selection here. I like the 8 horse Delta Prince. I'm going to go 8-3-4 in the TriCast, so the trifecta. So now let's get on to race number 8 from Woodbine. The 8th race, it's the Dance Smartly Stakes, Grade 2, purse $175,000. This race is for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 10 horses going the distance of ground of 2,000 meters, or back to the E.P. Taylor Turf Course, the distance of ground of 1.25 miles on the lawn. 2,000 meters, 1.25 miles, whatever you want to go by. My top selection here, I'm going to go to the 8 horse Santa Monica. I'm going to go 8-5-7 in the TriCast, so the trifecta. 8-5-7 TriCast trifecta. Now to the multi-race wager. I'm going to do a pick 3 that starts off with this race, but if you want, you could play a pick 4 or pick 5 that begins with race number 6. If you want to play it. Personally, I'm not going to play it because race number 7, you're going to have to all, because it's a very wide open 2-year-old race. I'm not sure why they put that race in there. They don't want you to win, I guess. But race 7 is hard. But race number 8, I'm going to play a pick 3 definitely to begin this race. But to connect the pick 5, if you would play it, I would definitely use the 8 horse Santa Monica as a what do you call it, as a horse in my pick 4, and I would use Holy Helena also. I think she could get a piece of it, and if you have the extra bankroll, I would go 3 deep. Actually, I would use the 8-5-7. Took a while to get there, but I would use 8-5-7 in the multi-race. But my top selection, the 8 horse Santa Monica. She's a great horse here, 5-year-old mare by Master Craftsman. Jose Ortiz is on this one for Chad Brown. This horse's most recent running came the 5th of May, Kentucky Derby Day at Belmont, mile 3/8 inner turf course in the Sheepshead Bay. This horse finished third by a half length that day. Stalked early, but had a great turn of foot at the end. Just missed, but it was a good turn of foot at the end on the inner turf course at Belmont that does not play towards closers. For this horse to get there was quite amazing. Before that, on the 18th of April at Keeneland, a mile and a half at an allowance rate, 63,000 non-2X. First start stateside, this horse won by 4 lengths and just flew off. It was a very easy victory for this horse there. First start since November the 2nd, which came at Linkfield in the UK, and just the River Eden Stakes, just basic listed stakes, Class 1 event. He finished 9th by 6 3/4 lengths and just had nothing that day. I think the Lasix really had something to do with this horse's better running. She's been training well at the Saratoga, Oklahoma turf course, and I just think she'll run a big one here today. Watch out for it. So to recap my selections for the 8th from Woodbine, it's the Grade 2 Dance Smartly Stakes. It's a top selection. I'm going to use the 8 horse Santa Monica. I'll go 8-5-7 in the TriCast, or the trifecta. I'll go 8-5-7 in my pick 3, or my or if you want to play the pick 5 also. So now let's get on to race number 9 from Woodbine. Race number 9 from Woodbine. It's the Grade 1 Highlander Stakes. It's going for a purse of $250,000. This race is for 3-year-olds and upwards. Field of 10 horses going to the post. The distance of ground here of 1,200 meters, or the distance of ground of 6 furlongs on the E.P. Taylor Turf Course. 1,200, 6 furlongs. My top selection in this race, I like the number 4 horse here, Holding Gold. I'm going to go 4-2-6 in the TriCast, so the trifecta. 4-2-6 TriCast trifecta. Top selection, the 4 horse, Holding Gold. 5-year-old gelding by Lonhro. John Velasquez is on this one for Mark Cassie. This horse ran about 3 weeks ago now at Belmont. 6 furlongs in the Grade 2 Jaipur Invitational. This horse finished 4th by 1 1/4 lengths. This horse was very wide at the top of the lane, but had a decent turn of foot at the end. First off the layoff, it wasn't a bad race. I think coming back to Woodbine with a faster pace, hopefully in front of him, I like this horse's chances a lot. Before that, on the 31st of March at Maidan in the Middle East, 6 furlongs in the Group 1 Alquaz Sprint. This horse finished 7th by 7 1/4 lengths. Didn't break all that well that day, and just really was never into the race. That's one of the best sprinting races on turf in the world, and you just could keep up with them there. And then 17th of February at Fairgrounds, 5.5 furlongs and a Colonel Power Stakes. This horse won by half length. He sat a little bit back early, but got the lead in the straightaway, and then he took off clear off the break there. Good race for this horse. And then he ran a 7th in the Breeze Cup Turf Sprint at Del Mar, 7th by 1 3/4 lengths. Didn't have the best of trips that day, didn't have the best of starts. It just wasn't his day to win. But this kind of horse he's a closer, and in this race you have a shit ton of speed, and I think that's a good advantage to this horse, and I just like this horse a lot. At 8-1, watch out for him. Now to my multi-race scenario. I'm going to go too deep in this race. I'm going to use the 4 and the 2. I think say the speed holds up here. I think the 2-horse Imprimis could run a good race on the front end all throughout. But say there's a pace meltdown, I think Holding Gold could get there. And at 8-1, you want him on your ticket, so watch out. So to recount my bets for the 9th race from Woodbine, it's the Grade 1 Highlander Stakes. It's a top selection. I like the 4-horse Holding Gold. Gonna go 4-2-6 in the tricasta, the trifecta. I'll go 4-2 in my multi-race scenario. Pick 3, pick 5, whatever I decide to play. Most likely pick 3. So now let's get on to race number 10 from race number 10 from Woodbine. It's the feature race of the afternoon. The 10th race, it's the Queen's Plate Stakes. It's going for a purse of $1 million. We have 3-year-olds here, Foals of Canada, 16 3-year-olds, so we have to get the auxiliary gate out to fit all the horses. They are going the distance of ground here of 2,000 meters, or the classic distance of 1 mile and 1/4 on the all-weather Tapeta surface. Mile 1/4, 2,000 meters. My top selection here, I'm going to go to the number 11 horse here, Wonder Godot. I'm going to go 11, 10, 4, 7 in the superfecta. 11, 10, 4, 7 super. My top selection, the 11 horse Wonder Godot, 3-1. John Velasquez is on the Strio filly by Medaglia d'Oro. Marcassi trains. This horse is a filly here, so she's not going to carry the standard 126 pounds the boys carries. She gets 5 less pounds, so carrying 121 pounds, which I think is a great little weight break. And if you're wondering, have the fillies won this race in the past? They have a great record in this race, a lot better than the Kentucky Derby. I believe a filly won it last year, Holy Helena, who is actually running earlier today in the Dan Smartly. The fillies have a great record in this race, and I always thought all throughout the year Wonder Godot would be a perfect candidate for this horse, for this race, because she looks like she'll be a grinder 1.25 horse, and she's finally getting it today. Her most recent run came 3 weeks ago now, the 9th of June here at Woodbine, in the 1/8 Woodbine Oaks. She finished second by a head. She fought a good battle to the finish. Dixie Moon just had the head in front, but this horse, she ran a great race. If she didn't have the bad break, I think she could have won, but she other than that, she ran a great race. Before that, Churchill, 1/8 in the Kentucky Oaks, she ran a good effort there too. She finished second by a half length. Sat about mid-pack early, but she just missed at the end. She was coming up at the end. It wasn't a bad race there. And then the Grade 3 Fantasy at Oaklawn, mile 16th, April 13th. Horse finished second by nose. Again, she just missed, but she ran a great race. The races you could throw out are the fairground races. I don't know if she liked that surface a lot. She really just didn't really run well there. But before that, before the fairground races, she ran in the Grade 2 Demoiselle at Aqueduct, mile 8th, December 2nd. I think that was her coming out party. She won by 3 3/4 lengths. She stalked early, got the lead, and then she took off clear that day. A very nice victory. First time Johnny V was on this horse. Before that, in the Breeze Cup Juvenile filly, she had a little bit of a wide poster, which cost her the victory. She finished 6 by 5 3/4 lengths. Didn't have the best trips there. But before that, here in the Mezzarine at Woodbine, she won by 6 lengths, almost on lead all throughout. Very easy victory. The wide poster doesn't, scare me with this one, because you have a 1/4 mile, a little over a 1/4 mile to the first turn, and I think she could save some ground there. And she's a good horse. She's gonna definitely get the trip. At 3-1, watch out for her. I would use the 10-horse Telekinesis, so the other Marcassi horse here in a multi-race scenario. Pat Husbands is on this one. This horse last race came in the plate trial Woodbine, mile 8, June the 9th. This horse won by 1 3/4 lengths, not lead all throughout. Just had a decent victory there. It wasn't the most impressive victory, but he had a decent victory there. Before that, Keeneland, mile 16th in the Grade 3 Lexington. This horse finished second by head. Didn't have, stalked early, got the lead in the stretch, and got caught right the wire. Just couldn't get that good head in front. My boy Jack just had a better turn of foot at the end. But he was second best there, and then third in the fairgrounds an optional 17 claimer March 9th. Finished third by 1 3/4 lengths. Set the pace early on, and they just couldn't keep up with them. But this horse, the speed does well in this race, and I think if this horse could set some easy fractions from the front end, I think he could get a piece of it. A 5:20's horse you don't want to keep off your ticket also, so watch out. The other two horses here I have here on my superfecta to end it off. The 4 horse Strike Me Down, he could be a little bit of a price play, and if I do have some extra bankroll for my pick 3 or pick 4 or pick 5, whatever it is, I would maybe use him. He's coming out of some decent races in his life. He ran a second place finish in the at Monmouth in just an overnight stakes, but he ran quite well there. Before that he broke his maiden at Woodbine very easily, and then he runs 2 very good races as a 2-year-old. He didn't win as a 2-year-old, but he ran 2 very good races as a 2-year-old, nearly winning the Cup and Saucer here last season on the turf. He's bred to go the distance. He has a good poster at 10-1. I wouldn't be surprised if he may be upset. So yeah, he could be used on a pick 4, pick 5, whatever you decide to play. But and the other horse here is the 7-horse Dixie Moon, who I have to end off of my superfecta. Rico de Silva is on this one. This horse won the Woodbine Oaks a few weeks ago by a head. She was a little bit wide, but she got there at the end. She had the head in front. The problem with her, a little problem with her is she's a little quirky of a horse. She doesn't break all that well. She just, I don't know if she's that good to win. She's the big question for me here. She's been training good, but I don't know if she wants to, if she's that good. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I definitely think the first 3 I have in my superfecta could get a piece of it. This horse is on the bottom, third, 4th maybe she could get. She's a horse you definitely want in your exotics, but maybe pick 4 not so much. But exotic wager I would use her. But to recap my selections now for the 10th from Woodbine, it's the $1 Million Queen's Plate as a top selection here. I like the 11-horse Wonder Godot. Gonna go 11, 10, 4, 7 in the superfecta. I'll go 11, 10, 4 in my pick 3, pick 4, pick 5, whatever I decide to play. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5.